Hi guys, now let us start our next chapter, breathing and exchange of gases. Coming to this chapter, there are total 6 topics. As I told you in before chapter introduction, you can read and then you can mark the important lines. Coming to this first these 6 topics, let us start with the first topic, that is respiratory organs. Listen guys, in 17.1, the topic is respiratory organs. A line is in NCRT which is not that much important, so I not out here, but it's okay, it's somewhat important. Not that much important, but okay, let's talk it about once. For nothing but the mechanism of breathing vary among different group of animals, and it depends mainly on habitat and levels of organism. Okay, the mechanism of breathing depends on habitat and level of organism. See, sponges means phylum Porifera. After Porifera, we get coelentrates and then Ctenophora and then at last platforms. Here they given that in sponges means Porifera and then phylum Coelentrata and then third one is what phylum Platyhelminthes is given here. Okay, in these three they told that the exchange of O2 and CO2 occurs by simple diffusion which occurs by entire body surface. Okay, and then after this next is earthworms. In earthworms it occurs by moist cuticle. You know what is cuticle? Cuticle means it's a dead and hard in nature. It is dead and hard in nature. Whereas in frog it occurs by moist skin, it occurs by lungs, it occurs by gills also. You can ask what is the difference between cuticle and skin? See, cuticle I told that it is dead and hard, whereas skin is not dead, skin is living. In frog, the skin is used while it is in water, while it is in aestivation, while it is in hibernation. Okay, next. Let us go to insects. In insects, it occurs by tracheal tubes. Okay, tracheal tubes. By these tracheal tubes, the atmospheric air and is transported in the whole body because of the tracheal tubes. Okay, and then in human beings there are nostrils, right? These nostrils and spiracles in cockroach or any insect, these two are almost have same function. Okay, the spiracles and nostrils will have the same function. Next, most of the aquatic arthropods and then mollusks and then fishes and then hemichordates, all of them will have gills. If the respiration is by gills, then we'll call it as branchial respiration. You may ask doubt, in mollusk there will be Ctenidiana, but Ctenidia is also a type of gill. Okay, next. In terrestrial forms of amphibians, reptiles, birds and mammals, in all of these are terrestrial forms. So automatically we can guess it is lungs. And if the respiration is by lungs, then we say it as pulmonary respiration. Yes? Yeah. Coming to the first part of respiratory system, that is nothing but nostrils, external nostrils. Okay, these are the opening by which the air enters into the nose. Okay, and then through nasal passage from the external nostrils, the air enters into nasal chamber. After nasal chamber, it enters into pharynx, and then after pharynx, if you see the digestive system chapter, I explained you about epiglottis clearly, right? How the epiglottis passes to digestive alimentary canal or how it passes to windpipe. So if we are drawing in the air, then the epiglottis covers the alimentary canal side so that the entire air can go to the windpipe side. And then next part we are talking about is glottis. Glottis is nothing but the opening of the larynx, and larynx is also called as sound box because it is a cartilaginous box which produces sound. That's why we call larynx as a sound box. And then after larynx, next we will go to the trachea. Trachea is a straight tube which extends up to the mid thoracic cavity. Okay, but it divides at fifth thoracic vertebrae only. At fifth thoracic vertebrae it divides, and then it go on dividing, and then it ends at mid thoracic cavity. And after trachea we have primary bronchi, and then secondary bronchi, and then tertiary bronchi, and then last terminal bronchioles. Till now what we discussed is everything is covered with blue color. See, blue ink, and these all come under conducting part. Okay, conducting part. I'll explain what is conducting part. And after terminal bronchioles, the air goes into the alveoli, and after alveoli it goes into the alveolar ducts, and after alveolar ducts it goes into the alveolar sacs. Okay, and then alveoli are very thin and they are irregular walled and they are vascularized bag-like structures. And then now what those three I told, they are highlighted with black ink, right? They all come under exchange part. Now coming to the conducting part. Conducting part rule is it transports the atmospheric air to alveoli and clears the atmospheric air from foreign particles, and the conducting part also humidifies the air, and also it brings the air which we breathe into the body temperature condition. Okay, this is what the conducting part does. First thing, it removes the foreign particles, it humidifies the air and brings the air to the body temperature. Okay, and then next, exchange part. Coming to the exchange part. In exchange part is the where this is the site where the actual diffusion of O2 and CO2 between blood and atmospheric air takes place. This is what the exchange part does. And then next, generally according to NCERT, branches of bronchi and bronchioles and alveoli, all of these combine and form lungs. Okay, this is a very important point which is in NCERT. Okay, this is how the human respiratory system is. And now let us talk about the lungs. Coming to the lungs are covered by double layered pleura, and there is a pleural fluid between them. This pleural fluid helps in reducing the friction on lung surface. And then this pleura is a double layered pleura. It divides into outer pleural membrane and inner pleural membrane. Outer pleural membrane is in close contact with thoracic lining, and inner pleural membrane is close contact with the lung surface. So that's why, and we also say that we cannot alter the pulmonary volume of lungs as it doesn't have the muscles. When we change anything in thoracic cavity, it reflects in the lungs. Okay, because the lungs doesn't have any muscles, but the outer pulmonary area is connected with the thoracic lining, right? So whatever we touch to the thoracic cavity, that reflects into the lungs. If we expand the thoracic cavity, then lungs also expands. If we contract the thoracic cavity, then lungs also contract. Okay, that's what they told. But any change in volume of thoracic cavity will be reflected in the lung cavity. I think you have understood this. So finally, once again, let us revise. Thoracic cavity is surrounded ventrally by sternum, dorsally by vertebral column, laterally by ribs, and lower side by diaphragm. Okay, and we need to assume that diaphragm means in our body the diaphragm present na, and how it elongates. That axis is referred as anterior posterior axis in NCERT. According to NCERT, contraction of diaphragm increases the thoracic cavity volume in anterior posterior axis wise. I think